Well, before I begin, I want to apologize in advance in case I start talking fast because I'm pretty nervous. So, I wasn't really expecting to laugh this much when I was here, so thanks, guys. In case many of you don't know me, my name is Nolan Spear. I am Brian's nephew, and we share the same birthday, exactly 30 years apart, May 8th, and as Kelly likes to call it, the day of the outspoken spokesperson. I think that applies to us pretty well. As we all know, Brian was a great man, and his passing was a tragedy. However, we can't really dwell on the negatives because we must know in our hearts that Brian will be watching over us forever. I have a lot of fun memories with Brian. One sticks with me in particular. It's slightly silly, but it's the only one that really makes me laugh this much. It begins with our good friends, the Colts, winning the Super Bowl in 2007. It was about 10:30 at night, and my 8-year-old self was ecstatic. Not only had one of my favorite teams just won the Super Bowl, but for the first time ever, I was up past 8 o'clock. I mean, who would have thought of that? So as you can imagine, I felt pretty grown up. As we were driving home from the party we had been attending, my mom reached back in the car and handed me her phone, asking if I wanted to talk to Uncle Brian. Now, from a young age, I was raised on one particular fact about football. My Uncle Brian loved the Colts. And what had just happened to the Colts, they'd won the Super Bowl. So I said, yes, let me talk to him. I grabbed the phone and cried, Uncle Brian, the Colts won. And the words he responded with stuck with me for a long time and never ceased to make me laugh. He said, yes, Nolan, they did. But what the heck are you still doing up? This question took me by surprise, and I answered in a way only an 8-year-old could. I said, Uncle Brian, I'm awake because the Colts won. Continuing on, let me offer some words of inspiration, courtesy of Reverend Maureen Christopher. I imagine a person's life is like a beautifully decorated balloon, tethered by a cord to the earth. It is buffeted by every breeze and strains at the restraint with sometimes harsh movements. Suddenly, a moment comes when the cord is released and the balloon lifts. No longer fighting the wind, it is lifted high upon it, graceful and dancing with heavenly movements. From an earthly point of view, it becomes smaller and smaller until it fades from sight. I feel my loss until I remember that the balloon is not becoming smaller as it lifts, but larger and larger until at some point it bursts the last vestige of its early life and merges with the highest atmosphere. The essence of that balloon, what made it a balloon, becomes totally free and part of the air that touches my face, the power that moves the clouds, even my very breath. In the same way, a soul merges with the omnipresent creator of life and is part of the goodness of God. So this person will always be, in some part, present with each of us, as God is present with us now. Brian was an amazing human being, and his presence will never leave us. Even now, we can feel his spirit and power guiding us. Remember him as he was, a kind man who loved music, his family, and life. Remember his humor, spirit, and laughter. And most important to him, remember those long hours he spent in that armchair of his blue cup in his hand, cheering on his team with those immortal words, "Go Colts." Because right now, they need all the help they can get.